Hello, I'm Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network. We're here at Sun and Fun 2024, the 50th anniversary. It's Saturday, the sun is out, it's beautiful. It's supposed to be beautiful today and tomorrow, so if you're catching this today and can't get here, come tomorrow, because it is beautiful. I am sitting here with Shawn Knickerbocker, and I'd love to talk to this guy. This guy's got so many great stories, but I do want to share with everybody. This is a Wings credit interview. So if you watch this interview and at the end, we will post some numbers for your Wings credit. So if you're collecting those points, and you should be, please catch that at the end of the show. Shawn, thanks for coming in.
Oh, glad to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, me too. We did this last year together. That was when I first got to know you, and I could talk to you all day long, man. So what have you been doing this last year?
Well, kind of been cutting back on a lot of things.
Cutting back?
Yeah, it's time that you got to mitigate your risk.
Ah.
You know, I'm 71 and been around. I'm flying almost 60 years, and it's just been time to relax and get really what I want to do. Got my bucket list almost done.
So, memory serves me, obviously you're a fixed wing pilot, jet rated pilot, rotor pilot.
Yeah. Well, I'm airplane, helicopter, and glider. Those are the categories I fly. The only jet time I have is in the L-29, L-39, and I got about 3 hours in an F-15 Eagle. And that was a blast. That really was.
Yeah, go ahead and make me sick.
Oh, they didn't get me sick.
I've got a little L-39 time, but I mean, and really not as PIC, but those are fun. But nah, F-15.
Yeah, it was fun time.
You're just really annoying me right now.
No, I know. It was a fun time.
Good for you. How'd you do that?
Actually, it was a long time ago. It was in the 90s, mid-90s, and I was stationed with U.S. Customs up at Navy Jacks. Okay. And just about a week before, your previous guest in here, Bill Bush,
right?
I actually I issued him his ATP rating in the C-12 King Air, and then I did the base commander in the C-12 King Air, and a couple of the XO and all that. And then about 3 days later, the Air Force Reserve from Andrews Air Force Base, they had about 15 F-15s on the ramp. And I thought, I want to fly one of those.
Yeah.
So I made a phone call, and it just took a day, and guess what? I got to get through about 3 hours. I had drop tank, so I got about 3 hours in that thing. It was fun.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So you're dropping back a little bit. In this past year, you've been flying more airplanes or helicopters or gliders?
I've been flying more gliders.
Been flying more gliders.
Yeah, racing gliders. I'm getting into racing. It's been about 35 years too late.
Cross-country stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Where do you start and where do you finish?
Start at Seminole Lake with a tow to 2,000 feet, get off tow, and then have some points you can go to, like Sebring and, Avon Park, go north to Ocala, Inverness, parts that's GPS. It's all in the GPS.
Right. And
fly it and come back.
Right. So now, I mean, there are some serious glider races that start out west, and they don't do this in one lift, but they end up in like Seminole, don't they?
No.
Isn't there some cross country stuff?
Yeah,
like
we do cross country, but we do have races. We just finished in March. We had two competitions: the World Championship Seniors and the 20-meter Nationals. Now, 20 meters is the width. There you go, right there. See, so, got a couple gliders there, and that's what we do, and it's fun, and it's who can go the farthest, the fastest, and come in on time. It just depends on the type of task you have. And there you have to.
So it's almost like a rally, a car rally in gliders in the air.
It is. It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Probably would be. So while we're on the glider subject, I'm going to be a little selfish here, because I've been thinking about this glider rating for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And I mean, everybody says, oh, you should do it, And everyone says it's going to really help your stick and rudder skills. And
that's exactly true.
I was actually talking to one of the ladies on our crew out there who's an ATP, and she's a glider. She's got an instructor, but I don't think she's done it in a while. But she really kind of was pushing me to the edge to do it. So you guys teach that out at Seminole?
Yeah,
Gliderport?
they teach a lot out at Seminole Lake Gliderport. You do private and commercial and CFI, both initial and the add-on rating. But getting back to being a glider pilot, in World War II, there was a group of people in Germany called the Luftwaffe.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Every Luftwaffe pilot was a glider pilot. That's why they were so good.
No kidding?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've never heard that story.
So, with regards to sailplanes or gliders, there's two famous air carrier accidents in which everybody survived. And one was called the Gimli glider. It was back in the 90s. It was a Boeing 767. They ran out of fuel because they got the liters and gallons mixed up.
Oh.
It's an Air Canada.
I think I've heard this story.
Yeah, and the captain was a glider pilot. He landed that 767 with no engines on a drag strip.
I've heard that story or read about it.
The Gimli glider. Now, the latest one was a couple years ago.
Miracle on the Hudson.
Miracle on the Hudson. He was an Air Force guy and a glider guy.
Yeah, he was a glider instructor in the academy.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And
there you go. That stick and rudder skill is the best. And remember, you can solo a glider at 14. Rating at 16.
16. Yep.
And power pilot solo at 16, rating at 17.
Right. So, I didn't realize. I thought it was 15, 16, but it's 14, 16.
Yeah. So you can solo an airplane with no engine, but you can't drive a car. Now, scratch on that one.
Which makes me think maybe it's easy, but as a pilot, that don't feel like it would be easy.
No.
I mean, flying around with no engine, that's what we try not to do in what we do, right? So walk me through it. So, like, day one, I call you up, and I'm like, I want to get my glider license.
You'd schedule an appointment out there, and you'd start out with an orientation flight, more than likely, with one of the instructors. And then
if I'm going to come and do it, I want to come and do it.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do.
I don't need to be, oh, I like this. No, I don't like this. If I'm going to do it, I'm just that way.
Well, the big thing about the whole thing in any training is if it's a different category, so you have a commercial or a private?
No, I'm a private instrument-rated pilot.
All right, airplane single engine.
Yep.
So if you go from a category to another category, i.e. airplane category, to glider category, you must have solo flight time. So the most important thing is you want to have some consistency of your training and back-to-back recency. So you go out there and plan on spending 3 or 4 days, or maybe even 5 days, to ensure that you can keep that information fresh in your mind and your skill set and knowledge, and work on that just to get soloed first. You want to get that soloed first. If you go and do 2 flights and then come back a week later, it's going to drag out, just like anything else. Concentrate and start that right in the beginning, and it makes things go a little bit better.
So, and I understand that, because when I did my private with a full-time job, right, I went from first lesson to check ride in 7 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it helped. I mean, I think it was 42. You got to have 40.
40 hours.
I did it in 42. But I didn't have to relearn half the lesson from a couple days,
I think the average that I remember now, so I retired as an examiner last year, but the average, the national average is about 60 to 80 hours when you get to a
last
private.
Time I knew it was 72.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you got better intel than I do.
Well, I studied it. I promote aviation a lot, and so I studied it to tell people. Actually, I was trying to make that point. The average is 72. Why? Because they go once every week or two.
That's it.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And it costs twice as much.
It may cost a little bit more.
Oh, it's going to cost twice as much.
But now,
you got twice the hours.
But when I started flying, almost 60 years ago,
that was when Christ was a corporal.
No, he was a private. He got promoted. But what happened? What happened on that? It was like you can rent an airplane for $4.50 an hour. Now you're looking at 172, somewhere around what, $220 an hour?
I think our field is. I want to say it's more like 165.
Oh, okay. I'm a little out of touch on that, but it can be pricey. So if you have consistency,
plus an instructor.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's another $50.
So then it's $200 an hour.
Yeah. So add that on there, but the consistency is what you need.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. So I go out, but you literally, do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday Monday to get soloed?
Yeah, well, it depends. First, you got to make sure you have a current flight review.
A current? Oh, okay.
Got to have a current flight review.
Now, a BFR. Well,
no, not a B. They don't call it BFR. It's a flight review. It's the FAA changed that about 10 years ago. It's called a flight review now.
Is that the 2-year thing?
Yeah, that's every 2 years.
Well, I keep that current all the time.
Yeah, so you have to have a flight review because you're going to be soloing an aircraft. That's a different category. And the flight review says you can't act as PIC unless you have a flight review.
Well, I keep that. So
yeah, that's good.
Box
so
check.
Get that out of the way, and then you'll be on your way. And that's it. And it's all you. Study and get the glider flying handbook, okay? Get the PTS right now.
And like I come out and they'll have all that, right?
Yeah. Well, you'll have to buy that. I recommend.
Well, I'll buy it.
I recommend.
I'm going to want that in my library anyway.
Yeah, get it. You can download it off the FAA webpage, free of charge, and put it in a PDF, and then you have something you can review on your computer constantly.
Right.
So get the airplane flying. I mean the glider flying handbook, and then get the private practical test standards. Right now, the FAA is in the process of changing that to the ACS, Airman Certification Standards, but they haven't done the glider yet. They just finished the balloon. Last week, I got a notification that the balloon, private and commercial balloon PTS is available, but not the ACS. So the FAA is a little slow on non-powered. Anything powered, they're on, but and they always say, "Oh, it's just a glider, it's just a balloon." Well, those two things will get you killed real quick.
Yeah, well,
you know.
So let's say I start on a Friday and I want to go up 2 or 3 times. Is that beyond?
Yeah, well, it depends on the weather. Okay.
Obviously, well, I would do that on a good weather weekend.
But as you'll be doing an add-on rating.
Right.
So there's a section in 61-109 that says for a glider rating, you have this, unless you have 40 hours of air-powered plane, which you do. So then you go down to the bottom one, and it tells you what you need to have, you know. But you're going to do 10 solo flights, a minimum of 10 solo flights. So once that's done, then you'll be ready for the check.
So typically, obviously it's based on your skill set, right? How many flights you need before they say, okay, go.
Yeah, usually it runs between 8 and 15 flights.
Till they'll solo you.
Till they solo you. Then you get a category and class solo, not a 6187 for a student pilot. You're not a student pilot because you're a rated pilot.
I'm a pilot.
So they'll get that, and then you go along and do ground school and review the PTS and be able to talk about lift and what type of clouds produce lift, and you know what a thermal is, ridge lift, wave flying, oxygen, you know. So there's all kinds of knowledge areas that you're going to be doing.
Any chance you'll come out and teach me?
Well, if you come to Seminole Lake, I'm on the east side, middle of the runway on the east side, big 9,000 square foot hangar. I'm sitting there all the time.
Really?
If I'm not flying a glider.
I
live there.
I could get you as my instructor.
Well, it's Seminole Lake. It's a business deal, so I don't work for them. So, but if you need any advice, and I can give you some ground school.
Okay.
I'd love to do that. That'd be great.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, getting a new rating is tremendous. I mean, I used to do check rides for almost 30 years at Embry-Riddle. And I always tell everybody, diversify your flight experience. Once you get the private and commercial airplane instrument, go ahead and get that seaplane rating. Go ahead and get that added glider rating. If you can afford it, get a helicopter rating.
Yeah.
All right. Or you get that and go into the military. Or, you know, there's so many diversifications. There's so many avenues you can go to. And the more diversification you have in your flight experience, the better a pilot you will be.
No.
Well, I should say the better aviator you would be.
And I've heard it from a lot of people that the glider is the best stick and rudder. I mean, it'll just take you to a new level in your regular flying.
It is. It teaches you all about the aerodynamics, like adverse yaw. You know, you roll in a turn in a glider, you got to have a lot of rudder in there when you start to turn.
Funny
because the aileron's going to kick the wing the other way, and all of a sudden the yaw string goes whoop way out this way, and your instructor's going to be.
She told me this morning.
And the instructor's going to be hollering at you, get that yaw string straight.
I remember my first or second lesson I took with Dale Johnson at Leesburg, who was 90 at the time.
Uh-huh.
And we'd be coming, and I'd be, into a turn, particularly like downwind to base to final, and come around, and he'd be like, on those rudders, and he would kick the rudders back and forth. The plane be going like this. Get on those rudders, get on those rudders. And I mean, but it made me get on the rudders.
Yeah.
It taught me.
Well, he was
like
90.
that, right?
So one of our best instructors out there is Jan Driesen. He's a Dutch guy.
I've heard of this guy.
87 years old.
I've heard of this guy.
He's a Paul Schweitzer Award winner, and he's a master pilot, FAA master pilot. And he's a great guy. I've known him for years. And he used to manage the Truckee glider airport in Truckee, California.
Right.
Yeah, and I've flown out there in Truckee, and it's great. But he's a good guy. He'll take care of you.
I won't have time to do it until fall at this point, but I need to go out there before Jan hangs up his...
Well, he won't. He'll be here. He told me he's going to work till he reaches 90. I think he is the oldest active flight instructor, and I've got to, I need to get him in maybe on an FAN interview maybe next year.
That'd be great.
He's a great guy.
Or really, I mean, we could even do a remote out there with him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I do a lot of remote stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So enough about me and gliders.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I kind of explained to everybody how to do it, right?
No, you promote it. I mean, aviation is it's a tremendous. It's just such a shortage of pilots today that you got to start somewhere. And people say, "Well, I'm 50 years old. I'm too old." No, you're not.
I learned at 48.
There you go. See, you just took the words right out of my mouth.
I learned at 48.
So it is, but it's a great career to get into, and there's so many avenues you can go.
And you don't have to make it a career, right, Shawn? I mean, I mean, it was funny because I used to be a professional scuba instructor. When I finished my private, the owner of the FBO came to me and said, "You would be a great instructor." And I'm like, I don't know.
No,
maybe. But he says, no, you just got it. I don't know what it is, but you got it. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, why not? I said, I don't want to take my most favorite hobby and make it a job.
Well, let's put a twist on that. Make a hobby into a professional.
Right. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I did. And so my point is, you can do this for fun. You can do it when you're 50, and it's the funnest. I have a lot of hobbies, a lot.
Good.
And flying is by far my number one hobby.
Yeah.
Easy.
The most important thing I'll emphasize in this conversation is that if you're going to be flying as a private pilot or anything, the most important thing is maintain professionalism and study the books. People get their ratings and then they back off, and then 30 years later they try to get a CFI and they got to work so hard. So hard. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. But I mean, the old expression is never too late.
It is never too late.
I mean maybe if you're 95 it's too late, but it's never too late, and it's so much fun, and there's so many things you can do. I know guys that just do it, have a seaplane, and they just like to pop around on lake to lake.
Yep.
I'm sure you're seaplane. Right?
Yeah, I got a seaplane. It's for sale right now. It's
really?
sitting right down at the
What
island.
is it? Plug it.
It's a PA-18 on whips, 2100 whip amphib.
PA-18, that's a
Super Cub.
Super Cub.
It's sitting right down at the island here. Big for sale, big yellow airplane. It's actually Seaplane Pilots Association picture airplane. It's all on the pictures of SPA.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, it's for sale.
It's the cover airplane.
Yeah, it is. It is for all their publications.
But anyway, so again, back to, yes, whether you want a seaplane. I mean, I got a buddy that he flies helicopters, and he's got a Eurostar jet helicopter, and he's got some money, right? And he flies around in that. So there's a lot of ways to go. We're down to our last minute here.
Oh, okay.
And so, Shawn, obviously, wing safety, I got to get this in.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling at the credits, safety, and closing thoughts.
More pilots are needed. So get out there and talk to people. Talk to pilots you may know, airline careers, corporate careers, military career, firefighting career. I mean, bush pilots, flying seaplanes. You can do all kinds of stuff. It's all up to the individual. The world is open.
Yeah, I would. The only thing I would add to that, Shawn, is take somebody flying. Take them flying.
Yep.
Put them in the airplane. I'm a big Young Eagle promoter, right?
There you go.
I take kids. I did that last Saturday, and so yeah, take somebody flying.
That's
No
it.
better way to turn them on to aviation than take them flying in whatever.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Your airplane, your helicopter, your seaplane,
Yep.
your glider.
Get them exposed.
That's exactly right. So I'm going to roll on out of here, man.
All
Hey,
right.
Thanks.
Enjoyed it.
Like I said,
Keep me posted.
I hang with you all day, and I'm going to see you at Seminole, brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Come on out.
I am Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network here at Sun and Fun 2024, the 50th anniversary. Come out and check us out.